Hey there, Dr. Steve here, and we today are going to be speaking about how to have you break through your most recent challenge right now that you're struggling with. Let's get to it. Okay, so some background info just to start. We want to look at anytime you're suffering, anytime there's a bit of a challenge for you, I want to introduce something new that you may not have thought about before. And each moment of time that we have as we go through, you have a circumstance, a situation where something's bothering you, someone's yelling, someone's angry at you, you're having some upset, there's some situation or circumstance that is bothering you or has bothered you in the past. There's three major elements that come with that particular event that you need to know about. So when we're looking to heal our own suffering, there's three major elements. There's a time element to it, there's a space element to it, and there's also an energetic element to it. And what I mean by that is with episodal memory is basically a storage of information in the nervous system and in the brain, that there is a time component, there's a space component, and there is an energy component of how much energy is available to you in that moment. And so when you think about certain circumstances in your life that were challenging, or circumstance you wish didn't happen, or something current that you're struggling through right now, there is a time, space, and energy component. Now, when we're looking at certain events or circumstances and we're judging those like, these suck, I don't like these at all, when we're looking at them, what the mind does is it freezes any given moment. It freezes it so that it can analyze it properly. Which now what it does is it compresses something into time and space and energy. And so it gives us a great opportunity to go back in and kind of reanalyze the area. So there's almost like a little bit of a gift there in the mind freezing something and not being in flow for a moment, which would maybe be counterintuitive, but not being in flow allows us to actually unpack and analyze something. And so with each moment that we suffer, we feel disconnected, or we feel like we wish something didn't happen, there's a time, space, and energy component. So now let me just kind of unpack that. So in this episodal memory, in this frozen memory for a moment, what you're looking at is the time. When was it? So like, was it 3 years ago? Was it 1 year ago? Was it a week ago? Like, when was it exactly? In the space component, where was I? Was there people around? Was I supported to some degree? Was I completely alone? Because in suffering, we consider basically in space we feel alone. And in the energy component, we also feel powerless. We feel like we don't have enough energy to manage the environment, which is why we feel like a victim. So this whole system here, we will feel like a victim, and time, relative to time, is like it's never gonna end. So let me give you an example. I had a girl come in, and she said to me she was really struggling with abdominal pain and abdominal issues and gastrointestinal issues. And so at the end of the consultation, when we broke it all down, she really acknowledged what was at the core of her suffering. And she said, like, it just feels like it's never going to end. Like, I don't know when this is going to be over. And so she came to me in her suffering, wanting me to help her end this. And in her suffering, her mind could not see how this was going to end. And so in suffering, relative to time, we feel like it's never going to end. Suffering relative to space, we feel alone. Suffering relative to our energy, we feel like we're powerless. So those three components are packed into the experience of suffering. And the amazing part is I'm going to show you how to break through that and give you an exercise that we can do together to help you to transcend that, break through that, and free yourself and heal yourself from your current suffering. So I look forward to bringing that to you. Okay, so here's what I want you to do. So you're going to close your eyes, and we are going to breathe in the nose and out the mouth with a nice, relaxed breath. That's where we're going to start. All we need is about 5 minutes of time here. So if you can carve out 5 more minutes, this will be great. Breathing in the nose and out the mouth. Okay, now, Either today, yesterday, the day before, I want you to find some circumstance or situation that was distressful to you. So go and find a distressful circumstance, something where you feel like you were a bit of a victim, like you wish didn't happen. You wish it was different. So you want to go and track in your mind something that you can get a sense for, that you don't like that it happened, you don't like that it's going on. And let's find where in time that is. Is it today? Is it yesterday? Is it the day before? Let's find the time. And see if you can be as accurate in the time as possible. So as you start thinking about that event and recalling that event, see if you could narrow that time down to, is it in the morning or the afternoon? Is it early morning, late morning? So try to dial that in as tight as possible in time. Because that stress, that powerlessness, that does have a moment in time. Now there could be multiple moments, but find a moment in time and we'll see if we can identify where that is. So find that moment. I'll give you just another few seconds for that. Morning, afternoon, early morning, late morning, early afternoon, late, even evening. Okay, now once you have the time pretty nailed down, now what I want you to do is find the space, the container in which that is isolated in. So where exactly is that? Is it at home? Are you in a car? Are you in a passenger seat? Are you in the gym? Are you walking somewhere? Are you on a path? Where are you? Where in space are you? So find that space. Are you in the kitchen? Are you standing? Are you sitting? Are you on a couch? Are you in your bedroom? So find that space. So we got time. When was it? We have space. So I'll give you just another few seconds to really nail that space down. Where are you precisely? In episodal memory in the nervous system, it has a time-space component. So go right as close to that time and space as possible. Nail it down. For example, yesterday at around 3 p.m., I was in my bedroom, sitting on my bed. That moment in time. That space, that spatial awareness. Because once you're there, close to that, now you can place your whole being in that space, in that time. So in a sense, by bringing yourself present, you're defying time and space. You're coming present again. So if you can go in the first person in that time and space, to the nervous system, you're actually present in that moment. Now, while you're present in that moment in first person, while you're there, let's take a look at our energy in that moment. You're feeling powerless in that moment, so your energy's dropped. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add more energy. So what I want you to do is you're going to breathe in the nose and out the nose. And that helps to start to build the energy. So now we're going to draw the energy from kind of like our lower body or our lower centers of energy, and we're going to start to pull those up and rise those up. Because in a moment of where we feel like a victim or powerless, our energy basically starts to depress and push down. So I want you to pull that energy up in that moment. So you're going to pull that energy, rise that energy up with your breath. And then you're going to exhale up the nose. And you're going to hold a posture. So you're still in that time and space. So now your mind's going to maybe try to get out of that time and space. Bring yourself back into that time and space. And bring the breath in the nose and out the nose. And you're going to hold a nice posture. You're going to hold an empowered posture in that moment. Okay, hopefully you're still with me. Hold that empowered posture. Now what we're going to do next is we're going to bring that breath all the way up. And as we bring that breath up in the nose, we're actually going to tip our head back. And as we tip the head back, it begins to shut off the stress and anxiety center called the amygdala. It shuts that down because it relaxes the whole spinal cord. When you relax the spinal cord in that time and space, you're actually going to start to rejuvenate the energy and shut off the stress response. So I want you to just stay in that time and space, draw the energy up your body, in the nose and out the nose. And you're going to pull that energy up, and you're going to bring your head back. As your head comes back, you're just going to have it sit back there. And that pushes the energy from the defensive structures of the brain to the forebrain, to the higher centers of the brain. So immediately, if you're in time and space, you're placing yourself in a more resourceful state in that moment. Keep that energy coming up the spine, so you're pulling that energy and breath up the spine. Pull it up and let that head nod back. And as you hold your head in this position, try to picture in that time and space. And it's going to get a little more difficult to hold on to the stress response. Okay, we're going to give you one more breath. Pull that breath up again. So you're going to pull that breath up, nodding that head back, and then exhale, and then relax everything. Now, in this space right now, what I want you to do is either say out verbally to yourself or write it down. Write down, what's the truth about that moment? Why is that moment important in time and space? What am I learning in that moment? What am I valuing? What's valuable to me in that moment? So those are a couple prompting questions. And then come back in and start breathing again. So bring that breath up. In the nose, and then tip that head back. Exhale out the nose. And then pull that breath up again. And keep that head tipped back. Exhaling out the nose. We're going to do this one more round. Breath in. Up. Head is back. Exhale out the nose. Good. Now come back to the paper again, or just again express out loud, what's the value to me in that moment? What's the benefits to me in that moment? What's the truth of that moment? In a more resourceful state, when we move energy out of the stress response to the cortex, we can see with more order and organization exactly what was happening in that time and space moment. So what was really going on? What was really happening there? Maybe you noticed you lowered your standard. Maybe you dropped your standard. Maybe you held back from saying something. Maybe you dishonored yourself in that moment. What can you take responsibility even for in that moment? In a more resourceful state. Because the victim's not interested in responsibility at all. So as we bring more energy to the forebrain, and more energy to that present moment, what in that moment can you take greater responsibility for? Where is your awareness expanding in that moment? What are you learning about in that moment? That's what I want you to write about. That's what I want you to express about right now. So what you're doing is you're going back and you are going into that present moment, being present, and now you're rearranging in your nervous system and in your brain your relationship with that moment in time. And you're energizing that moment in time from where you were powerless with minimal available energy. You're ramping up your energy in the structure of your body, bringing the energy up to your brain and seeing more wisdom and writing out how it was an empowering moment for you. What you were learning, how it was valuable, where you can take greater responsibility for yourself in that moment. So if you need another few seconds, we're going to give you another few seconds just to finish the exercise. And don't let yourself off the hook. If you're still feeling like a victim, go back into that moment again. Pull the energy and the breath up the spine again. Pull it up the body. Tip that head back. Get some energy through the system. In that moment in time, build your energy up a little bit more if you need to. Do a few cycles of the breath and then get back to the work again. And within just a few short minutes, you're going to start to alter your perception and your perspective, and you're going to energize that moment in time. So what was a point in your history that was of low energy and suffering can instantly now become an opportunity for you to break through that limited energy capacity and rearrange your perception and energy and structure about you so that the whole system becomes more open and more wise to that whole situation. So that's a awesome exercise for you to incorporate into your day. You could even do that at night if you want to, as you replay some situations in your mind, that happened throughout the course of the day, and re-energize your nervous system around its past. Capture the wisdom, write it down, capture it, and see how valuable that moment was to you. And that I recommend as an incredible exercise to help the brain to transform and for you to stay appreciative and grateful for your life that you have. So I'm Dr. Steve, and we'll see you in the next video. Hey guys, Dr. Steve here. If you hate this channel, leave a nasty comment below and don't subscribe. But if you do like this content, I'd love for you to be able to hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and leave a wonderful, inspiring comment below as to what you're learning. So we'll talk to you soon.